Do you suffer from an inferiority complex? Never quite feel good enough? Or do you always feel like the underdog? If so, I've got 3 tips for you. I'm Keeley Taverner, psychotherapist and founder of Key for Change. So if you suffer from an inferiority complex, my first tip to you is to understand and know that you will always need to prove yourself to people. Well, it's going to be particular people whose opinions and judgments matter to you. So understand that you will need to prove yourself to the people whose opinions matter to you. That's my first tip. You'll just need to prove yourself. My second tip is to know that in proving yourself to people, it will get exhausting and it will get draining because the benchmark will shift. So you'll have to up the ante to prove to them how great you are. As you may or may not know, I have many qualifications after my name. The reasons why I have so many qualifications, why I've done a master's, a degree, various diplomas, is because I suffered from an inferiority complex. I left school with no GCSEs, and at some level, in the various different circles I went into, I never felt good enough with what I had. So I had to keep going on and getting the next qualification to prove that I could. It got expensive and it got very draining. However, I'm very glad for those qualifications, but I got to the point in the end where I said, you know what, Keeley, that's enough. So know that actually you'll have to keep pursuing and pursuing in order to prove that you are worthy, that you are good enough to someone who, I don't know who it was for you, but that's something you need to think about. Whose judgments do I care about? Why am I doing this? And my last tip to you, if you suffer from an inferiority complex, is by virtue of the fact that you have to prove yourself, that action alone suggests you feel inadequate, that you're not centered and confident about who you are. And so by virtue of the fact that you get drawn into proving to yourself, it already suggests you're vulnerable. It already suggests you're vulnerable. And that's something I always pay attention to when I have conversations with people, is am I trying to convince them of my opinion? Because when I convince people, I have to give so much evidence to underpin and show them I know what they're talking about. But by the time I have to prove myself, I've already lost because they don't believe you anyway. So I endeavour not to get caught in those tussles. So those are my 3 tips to you. 1, you'll need to prove yourself. 2, it will get draining. And 3, you're already vulnerable by that fact that you have to prove yourself. I'm Keeley Taverner, psychotherapist and founder of Key for Change. Take care of you, because if you don't, who will?